Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Ric Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody. This Week in America and the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network. Great to have you with us on the program today. As mentioned, our guest, financial educator, celebrity trader Jimmy Slagle, known as the Dart Throw Trader for his innovative and revolutionary trading style that delivers profits practically every week under any market condition. Talking about the book, How to Trade Stocks Using Options, the Dart Throw Trader's Kick Butt Strategies. I changed that to throwing darts, picking stocks, making money, and he's with us on This Week in America. Jimmy, welcome to the program.
Well, I'm glad to be here. It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this.
Well, it's all ours, and I'm looking forward to talking about all your various strategies. Let's go back and talk about the 20 years, a little more than 20 years you spent as an off-the-floor trader. Tell us exactly what that is and what you were trading, and then we'll get to how this whole dart throw strategy came about.
Well, it's an interesting story, and I'll try to get as much concisely as I can. I got started in the markets as a broker, as most people do. However, when I got into the brokerage side of the field, I realized I didn't want to be on that side of the phone. I wanted to be the guy in the markets, the guy making the money. And brokers don't tend to do that. So I switched places and became a trader. And how I did, that's a long story, and I won't go into detail about it here. But suffice it to say that I got involved in the markets because I lost a lot of money because I thought I knew what I was doing. And then I had to seek people out who actually did know what they were doing so they could teach me how to more effectively manage risk and how to trade the markets regardless of market direction. So I got under the wing of some of the greatest traders this country's ever produced, and I have been blessed in that area because a lot of the guys that I trained under are actually icons in this industry, and I'm fortunate to say that I get to call them my friends.
Let's talk specifically about options. You say how to trade stocks using options. For a lot of people, they sort of understand what that means, but not fully. What are we talking about with options?
Well, options are a derivative of an underlying stock. In other words, without an individual stock, you can't have an option. And there are basically just two types of options. It's a lot more, scary sounding than it actually really is. There's only two things we can actually do in the options market. An option is nothing more than a contract, and it's the right to buy or the right to sell an individual stock. So to kind of put it in terms that I teach in a class, we talk about real estate. So if you wanted to buy a house and you found the perfect house, but you didn't have the money to purchase that house at that exact moment, you could get into an agreement with the homeowner that you would basically put down a good faith deposit, and then they would give you time to come up with the additional funds to purchase the home. That's really all an option is. It's just basically a contract that gives you, the owner of that contract, the right to buy an underlying asset for a specific price on or before a specific date in exchange for a little bit of money up front.
You can get information on Jimmy and order his book as well at his website, which is dartthrowtrading.com. I want to pick it up with Dart Throw Trading. As soon as you see that, no matter if you're listening, reading, whatever, it captures your attention. Let's go back to 2004. You're teaching a class in New York, and basically you're saying if you really have an understanding of what you're doing, you can just throw darts and do this.
That was actually it. I was actually teaching a class in New York, and we've all had experience with New Yorkers. They say what's on their mind, and that's what I respect most about New Yorkers. And being around a lot of those guys in the industry, it's been kind of played off a little bit. But I was teaching this class, and we were having a break, and there was an impromptu Q&A going on. And this guy stands up in the back of the room, and he yelled so that everybody could hear. He said, the only way that you can make money in the stock market is you've got to be right all the time. And when he said that, I just kind of froze, and I said, well, that's not exactly true. I said, if you know what you're doing, you can take the stock page, put it on a wall, throw a dart, pick a stock at random, and probably make money. And now what I had done after the fact was I just basically stuck my foot in my mouth. And so now I've got to prove this concept.
Well, and you're greeted with some laughter when you said that. They thought you were just joking around.
Everybody pretty much did. They kind of all blew it off, and I'm thinking, okay, what have I done here?
Yeah, which made it more of a challenge for you, I would assume. They just laughed at me.
Exactly. And so I've now got to prove this concept. So if you go back in time, actually October the 4th of this year, which is the 2013, we're actually celebrating the 25th anniversary of the very first Wall Street Journal dart throw. And basically what happened was the Wall Street Journal basically got together some analysts as well as some staffers, and they threw darts and picked stocks and then had a contest to see who could most accurately predict stocks. Well, we took it a step further. So after I'd said that in front of the room, what I did was I created a dartboard out of stock ticker symbols, and I've got one kind of behind me on the wall, and if you go to the website, you can actually see one. And what we did was, starting in January of 2006, We would throw a dart first on Wednesday of every week, and we would randomly pick a stock by throwing a dart at this dartboard, and then we would trade that stock based on the strategies that we actually teach in the options arena. And so over the course of the year, obviously we did 52 trades, and those 52 trades produced a 222% return in that particular year, just randomly picking stocks and then trading them based on their current outlook.
And you said, I knew my theory was correct, but even I was surprised at how accurate and how well we did with this process.
I actually was. I thought throwing a dart, picking a stock at random, we would do okay, because as a general rule, when you're trading options, the number one thing you're doing more than anything else is you're basically managing your risk. And that's really what options were designed to do, to manage risk. And so we figured worst case scenario, we're not going to lose a lot, but we should do okay. And when we actually were able to produce a 222% return, we were kind of taken aback by that. And so we decided, let's do this every year and see what kind of results we can get. But at the same time, let's do some good. So we decided that we would throw darts, pick stocks, make money, but we would do it all for charity.
Which is interesting. And our guest on the program is Jimmy Slagle, financial educator and celebrity trader. Jimmy Slagle, author of the book, How to Trade Stocks Using Options That Aren't Throw Traders' Kick-Butt Strategies to Throwing Darts, Picking Stocks, Making Money. It's an instant trading classic. It's available at Amazon, of course, available at Jimmy's website, which is dartthrowtrading.com. And a very important part of what you do is the philanthropic work. And you just started a challenge where basically it's pay forward. And if you have a little success, we want you to take that and to help other people.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we're doing. I'm blessed in the sense that I get to teach this to other people. And a lot of people ask me, Jimmy, if this trading thing is so great, why do you teach others? And the people that ask that, I always wonder what kind of mindset they're coming from. The mindset of, I got to hang on to everything that I've got. And if I share something with somebody else, there won't be enough for me. And we have the feeling that the more you have, the more you can bless others with. And so teaching is something that I get to do. So every week I'm out teaching a class somewhere across the U.S. and we'll pick somebody out of the group and we'll let them randomly pick a stock and hopefully they're associated with some local charity. Then we'll throw a dart, we'll pick a stock, we'll evaluate that stock during the class, we'll actually place a trade, and then whatever that trade makes, we'll donate to that local charity. So we're able to do this around the country and support a lot of really local kind of, I don't want to say mom and pop charities, but we're not doing the Red Crosses of the world and the Salvation Armies of the world. We're doing the women's shelters and we're doing the charities that are really working in the community. And sometimes the donation that we'll give is $500, maybe it's $1,500 or whatever. But for a local small charity, a local small foundation, a local small organization, that could be 2 or 3 months worth of operating expenses. So we feel really blessed that we're able to give so much back.
Jimmy Slagle, our guest on the program, his website is dartthrowtrading.com. Mentioned this early on in the program. So many people have this mindset, and you're saying what you really need to do, like the first step is to free people of the outdated conventional Wall Street wisdom. We think things are complicated. We think things have to go this way. If they don't, we're going to be off track. Nothing's ever going to work out. And many people think in order to do this, and your student mentioned it, you really need to be perfect about 100% of the time or you're in big trouble. And you say, first of all, you got to wipe the slate clean. Don't have that in your memory bank, and you're going to be okay.
And it's true. If we go back to when most people think about the stock market as a whole, most people have been taught all of their lives, and I was taught this too, you're supposed to buy low, you're supposed to sell high. You're supposed to buy stocks when there's good things going on, and you're supposed to sell them when there's bad things going on. What we believe is this. It doesn't matter how you choose your stocks, and this is why the dart throw is such a simplistic format. We don't care how you pick your stocks. I don't care if you're subscribing to a newsletter, you're getting recommendations from an advisor or a broker or anything like that. The bottom line is this. No matter what stock you choose, it's ultimately going to go up in price, down in price, or stay the same because it actually can't do anything else. So what we teach our students and what we try to teach the investment community is that there are very specific core strategies that one can learn that can place around a stock that allow you to profit regardless of market direction. So if we think a stock's going to go up, we can certainly place a position around that. If we think it's going to go down, we can position around that. But if we don't have any idea what the stock might do, we will position ourselves all three ways so that no matter what the stock does, we tend to walk away with a little bit of a profit.
Dartthrowtrading.com is the website. You talk about within certain parameters. It's not like, okay, I just bought the book. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in Hawaii making money because I've got the secret to success. You define within certain parameters, and you say learn, study, and focus. And you also you also throw mindset in there. In fact, let's start with mindset because I find that fascinating. How important is the right mindset when you're doing this?
It actually is a lot more important than a lot of people think. And it goes back to what I was just discussing. The mindset that we have is it doesn't matter what stock we choose. That stock's ultimately going to go up in price, down in price, or stay the same. So it's all about entering a position using derivatives like options and like the individual stock combined together to create a very specific strategy that enables us to profit regardless of what the stock does. So the mindset that you have to embrace and what we spend a lot of time talking about is how do you embrace the mindset that you can still make money even if a stock goes down? Because a lot of people still stumble over that. A lot of people think either for moral reasons or even for reasons of fear that if a stock is going down in price, they're going to end up losing money no matter what. What we try to overcome with our teachings and with our education is that it doesn't matter if a stock goes up or down. What matters is that the stock actually does something. I mean, we don't care what the stock does. We just want it to open for trading every day. So on weekends, we kind of sit around and twiddle our thumbs and get frustrated because we can't do anything. So we're looking for a 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week market so that we can trade whenever we want, and hopefully we can educate enough people that they'll embrace that philosophy as well.
The others learn, study, and focus. I assume if you focus, the learning and study part will follow, and you can have some success?
I would agree that there is a certain amount of focus that comes into play. And there's two ways to trade the market. And this is something that we kind of go back and forth with our students about. The two primary ways to trade the markets are, number one, get a core group of stocks, stocks that you know, companies that you already buy products from or the industry that you work in, stocks that you really have some sort of intimate relationship with, and trade those stocks. Or you can pick a strategy and then go find stocks to meet the criteria of that strategy. Now, either one is fine, and I actually do both, and we encourage most people to do both because it doesn't really matter what's going on in the marketplace. There's always this philosophy that the stocks that you trade, the market that you embrace, is going to go up, down, or stay the same. And some of the greatest minds in our investment community, guys like Peter Lynch, guys like Warren Buffett, guys like George Soros, these guys understand, just like anybody else would if they took the time to realize it, that it doesn't really matter what the market does. It's going to go up or it's going to go down. We're either growing as an economy or we're going through a recession or a weakening economy. Interest rates are rising or they're falling. There's always something going on that's going to impact the overall financial community. So with all these things going on, we just take a deep breath, sit back, and kind of watch the market and then trade the behavior. So if it's going up, we ride it up. If it's going down, we ride it down. If it's not moving, we just sit there and watch it go back and forth. So it doesn't matter what the market does, but there's a certain amount of knowledge that comes into play that would enable a trader or an investor to go into the market and actually embrace strategies so they can profit regardless of what the market does.
Is part of the problem the average person has, we overthink, we make it more complicated than it need to be?
And that's a lot of students tell me that they tend to overanalyze.
Yeah,
we tend to there's so much information out there. I mean, if you look at if you go to the internet and type stock education, you're going to find a little over 4 million results. Wow. So there's tons of information out there, and then you start to get bogged down and you start to think, should I do this or should I do that or should I do this? And it's all good. I mean, the reason it's out there is because it has some purpose. What we try to tell our students and what we try to kind of embrace for ourselves is, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. I mean, stocks are going to have good earnings or they're going to have bad earnings. They're going to have a good product or a bad product. There's always going to be something going on. And if you try to nitpick every single thing that could take place, then you're always trying to be right. And I don't know. Most people, it's very frustrating and very time consuming and very mind numbing to try to be right all the time. So what we tell our students is, look, no matter what stock you pick, no matter what's going on around that stock, it's ultimately going to go up, go down, or stay the same. So if you just put a position on, so if it goes up, you make money, great. If you put a position on, so if the stock goes down, you make a little bit of money, great. If the stock doesn't move and you make a little bit of money, great. Do you really care what's going on around the stock? Well, no. I just want the stock to open for trading every day. And that's kind of the education that we give our students, because if you break it all down, there's really about 4 basic types of strategies that you can enter in the marketplace. And once you get those 4 basic strategies under your belt, you've got one for up, one for down, and one for not moving, and then you got one that basically does it all. You don't really care what's going on anymore. So you don't have to pay attention to the daily fluctuation, the daily news, the talking heads, the newsletters of 16,000 stocks to go buy or sell or whatever. You pick a core group of stocks, 5 or 6 or 7, and every one of those stocks are going to go up, down, or stay the same. You put a strategy on it, you let it do what it's going to do anyway.
Jimmy Slagle, our guest on This Week in America. His website is dartthrowtrading.com. The book is How to Trade Stocks Using Options. The Dart Throw Traders Kick-Butt Strategies to Throwing Darts, Picking Stocks, Making Money. And got about a minute left in the program. Jimmy, what you offer is more than just a book. You talk about working with students, and you have like a whole menu of things that you're able to do, workshops, consulting, all types of things. You just don't have somebody that buys a book and walks away and you never hear back from them again. You've got people that have been with you literally for years.
Yeah, I've got students that I've been working with since 1996.
Wow.
And the great thing about this is it's a relationship. And what we try to do more than anything else is build a relationship with our students so that we can help them, and then hopefully in turn they can help us, because it goes deeper than just trading, deeper than just investing. You know, we're all about giving back. You know, you learn a skill set, you can go into the markets, you can produce an income, you can produce better results in the marketplace. And when you do that and you work collectively together, we can start to do some good in the community. We can change some lives. And so we tap into a lot of our students to do some foundational work with us and support some local communities and things like that. So it's really a relationship, but it involves the markets.
Jimmy Slagle on This Week in America, his website, dartthrowtrading.com. Another element that you talk about that you really encourage from your students and you'll learn from it is feedback. Talk about your hearing back from investors and potential investors.
Great, because we do have that really open line of communication, and I spend 2 days a week, every week, just talking to students and talking to people who, you know, gotten involved in our relationship process and all of this, and we get a lot of feedback from students about what's working and what's not working. We get a lot of feedback about obstacles that they're having to overcome and things like that. So we spend a lot of our time behind the scenes in the underground investors network, if you will, creating solutions to all of these challenges. And so the challenges that I've always heard are, I don't have the time to do this, or I don't have the resources to do this, or I'm afraid, or my spouse won't let me, or I don't have enough, you know, education, or there's a fear element, or all of these other things that they come up with. And so what we do is create a process that takes somebody from where they are, wherever that may be, and lead them step by step while holding their hand, literally, through the process that overcomes each and every one of these obstacles. What I've always told my students, and what I'll tell your listeners, is this: there is no obstacle that can't be overcome if you're open for the solution.
Unfortunately, out of time on today's program. Our guest has been Jimmy Slagle. He's the author of How to Trade Stocks Using Options. His website is dartthrowtrading.com. We'll have Jimmy back in the program. Thanks for listening, everybody. This Week in America and the Blue Funk Broadcasting Radio Network.
You've been listening to This Week in America with Ric Bratton. And join us next time for another broadcast of This Week in America.